I don't look for any public toilets, I don't use them at all.
I don't think public toilets are open as much as they should be.
I have looked, but you have to walk quite a way to find a toilet.
It's always really hard because being girls, there's always a big group of girls waiting to use the toilet and the men's is always empty. But you just have to queue up and wait, so...
That's why I make sure if I want to go out, I don't drink much.
I don't think there's a woman in the UK who hasn't faced this as an issue. Women require toilet facilities. I'm not going to say more than men, but we don't have the luxury of finding a little dark corner. We do require somewhere enclosed and private.
If I'm, for example, with my daughter and I want to use toilet, public toilet or any toilet in the shop, I usually have to go and have a look for someone who can open it for us. It's closed, it's locked, so it's not easy access. Yeah, that's difficult. It's busy everywhere and you have to have a look for someone, it's taking too long time.
Too crowded, a long queue waiting and only one toilet and everybody just want to go there. And
it's a big issue for women. For example, you go into a building and a space will be divided 50-50. But because men have the options of urinals, they'll actually have almost double the provision than women. So you're wondering why you're standing in a queue and men are walking in and out. And that's because maybe you've got one of 3 toilet cubicles to choose from, whereas men have maybe 2 toilet cubicles and anything up to 4, 5 or even 6 urinals. And therefore, you know, that's why we're queuing.
Yeah, it is quite stressful because in situation like that you are in hurry, so you have to use it as quick as you can and not going around and have a look.
I had to walk from here and walk to the other side of the shopping centre to find a toilet. It's not clear on how to get in there because it shows you where the toilet is, but it doesn't show you where to go from there. And I landed up in the baby toilet, which wasn't very good, but I did find it eventually. It wasn't very clearly signed, but yeah, I did find it.
The British town planning, the urban planning legislation, doesn't make any reference at all to toilets. It's no compulsory requirement to show the location or provision of toilets in development plans or local plans or planning documents. So therefore, it's almost like an invisible issue. This is one of the problems. You've got to have good signage, you've got to have good directions, good maps, because otherwise, even if you have got the toilets, people will never find them. So you want to have a sort of a spatial toilet strategy. You want the best and the most toilets in the centre because that's where all the people are, but you still want toilets dotted about in the district centres where there's shops and bus stops, etc. And then at a third lower level, you still want at least some minimal toilets in the more out-of-town locations, the villages, the smaller towns, etc.
I don't use them, just because they just look really unhygienic.
Well, the ones I've been in so far are disgusting.
I find that they're not very clean.
They're just a bit old and they don't feel very comfortable.
Never again, because it was horrible. It was almost like you catch an infection by inhaling. So,
I mean, even the soaps. You see the soaps on the sink, and that's probably been there for years. And I don't let my child anyway use the soap bar, so I just bring my own stuff with me so she can wash her hands. So
I'd hate to think of my mum having to use a public toilet. I'd hate the thought of it. And she is partially blind, and so we have to take care of these things, make sure that we have these facilities around.
And it's got to the stage now where we don't use the toilets in the streets. We wait till we go home.
Our research found that hygiene is the most important aspect about using a toilet, It's pretty awful when you walk into a facility and for whatever reason it has been left in, the cubicle's been left in some kind of state. And I know that the majority of women that I've spoken to the first reaction is just to walk out and find another cubicle. But if you actually don't have that option, you're sort of stuck in there cleaning, and already you're feeling slightly disgusted and everything's getting slightly more tense that you're having to do this. So the reality is we do need people cleaning, helping to clean toilets, and there does need to be an active cleaning management programme in place for the facilities. I don't think there's any way of getting around that.
Yeah. Was it you that went to Harrods?
Yeah.
She went, a few years ago now.
Yeah, we went to Harrods.
And how much was it, £1?
Pound.
So her and her friend came away.
30, 40p. Too much money just to actually go to a toilet, so everywhere should be actually free.
Yeah, I'd rather pay to use the toilets than go to any dirty toilet, not pay at all. Because the ones we pay for, at least we know they're clean.
I mean, if you have attended toilets, then yes, by all means charge.
I've made shopping decisions based on breastfeeding facilities, certainly, where a disabled toilet was and whether I could sit there for half an hour. And based on his needs, yes, constantly.
I'm still breastfeeding, and if I need to breastfeed my baby, I hardly find any place to do so. Like, you just have to clean the toilet seat, put the seat down, sit on that and feed the baby. I've done it a couple of times, which is quite funny and weird, but you can't help it.
We have to start challenging, I think, the fact that the majority of our public space is still designed by men for public life that is conducted by men. I think some of the recent issues in women being asked to leave premises because they are breastfeeding highlights the need, if we are going to welcome women and children into our society as active and equal participants, there needs to be space.
You do need a lot of room, and you're trying to think of everything. It's really unsafe now. You're never that sure of people, and you can't just leave your bag and things outside, or even a buggy, because that might get stolen. So yeah, it's difficult. You end up using the disabled toilet, and they do put a changing area in there, but then that's difficult if someone who's disabled, or there can be big queues with mothers and babies and things. So
ideally you'd have in the men's toilet you would have a men's disabled loo, in the ladies' toilet you'd have a ladies' disabled loo, you'd have another large loo where a buggy or pram or something can be put.
When you go inside, that's not problem, but when you come out, like me, I'm big, so it's always have a problem, and I need more toilet or door open outside, not inside.
One theatre in the West End is so small you can barely do what you need. You can barely open the door to get in and out. You have to sort of wiggle yourself around the door.
If you have shopping, you always touch toilet, your leg or your dress, or or if I wear sari, that's more problem,
One of the main complaints for women is the size of the cubicle. Not only are women the predominant carers of children, obviously, but also, as for an ageing population, caring for parents or older relatives. And that's going to become more of an issue as our population ages. Lifestyles are extending, and more of us will be helping our parents live good and fulfilled lives, helping them around, helping them go shopping, helping them to do things that they really enjoy. And part of that care will be helping them to use the toilet, just making sure they don't slip or fall, or that they can actually get off the toilet as well. So in that way, toilet cubicles need to be a little bigger to enable this to happen. Otherwise there's going to be a terrible pressure on the accessible disabled cubicle as more and more people want to use it.
We need a proper survey of what's available now, because a lot of local authorities have no idea what toilets are available. They've got their own local authority toilets, but there might be other providers as well, such as bus stations, car parks, shopping malls, other leisure facilities. So I've always argued you need a proper survey, then a complete analysis with a proper map of what's available, and then produce a proper plan, a proper strategic spatial plan showing where the toilets should be located. And this should be done in a scientific manner in relation to the footfall, numbers of people passing, public transport, numbers of tourists, numbers of shoppers. And I'm sure this could be done, mathematically and quite logically. This should be taken as seriously as eating and drinking or driving a car or anything else. It's a basic human activity.
Thank you.